Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. This is IMAX Sports, another football video, and today I'm going over my Week 14 predictions for the 2022 NFL season. I do predictions on the channel every single week, and this week, my predictions last week were pretty okay. Weren't amazing, but I had some pretty good guesses in there. So I'm going to be going over last week's predictions and then going over this week. So let's get right into it. First off, we have our Week 13 recap. I picked the Patriots over the Bills, somewhat optimistically. Eagles over Titans, Packers over Bears, Vikings over Jets, Lions over Jaguars, Washington over the Giants, the Steelers over the Falcons, Ravens over the Broncos, Broncos over Texans, Dolphins beating the Niners, Chiefs beating the Bengals, Seahawks beating the Rams, Raiders beating the Chargers, Cowboys beating the Colts, and the Buccaneers beating the Saints. Pretty good week for me. The Bills obviously beat the Patriots. That was the game I expected the Bills to win, but I was optimistically picking the Patriots. Eagles over Titans. I thought that it would be a pretty dominant game by the Eagles, and the Titans would get some garbage time points. It was pretty much accurate, but the Titans didn't get any garbage time points. I had the Vikings beating the Jets by 10. They won by 5, but they controlled most of the game. I had the Lions beating the Jaguars by 12. They beat them by 26. So I had the Lions score pretty accurate. I thought the Jaguars would hit up a little bit more, but Trevor Lawrence did get injured during the game. I had Washington beating the Giants 24-20. I got almost the identical score prediction for this game. I got at least one team score almost on the dot in most of these predictions. 24-20, it ended up 20-20. I think that Washington had some chances to get a field goal and win 23-20 at some points in the game, but either way, that was a tie. I almost picked it to be a tie, honestly, but I ended up just picking Washington. Ravens over the Broncos. I had the 17-13. It was 10-9. That's pretty accurate. I didn't expect either team to score 20 points. I also didn't expect Lamar Jackson to go out during the game. So if he didn't go out during the game, I think the Ravens probably would have gotten to that 17 and I'd have scored a few more points. But yeah, Denver really just didn't look great like usual. I had the Steelers beating the Falcons 19-16. They won 24-19. So I was off by 5 on the Steelers score, 3 on the Falcons score. Pretty similar point differential. I had the Browns beating the Texans 27-14, similar to a couple of the other games. Had the right score. I knew it was going to be a blowout. It was just even more of a blowout than I expected it to be. I had Browns over Texans 35-19. It was less of a blowout than I expected it to be. I thought that the Browns would have some offense, any offense in the world, but they didn't. They scored a lot of points on defense and special teams, 3 touchdowns to be exact, and they're able to win a pretty dominant victory. I had the 49ers beating the Dolphins by 3. The Dolphins lost by 3 scores. I wanted to believe in the 49ers all season. I am a Jimmy Garoppolo fan. Obviously, he's injured now, but I'm a Jimmy Garoppolo fan. And I've been hesitant to pick the Niners in tough games or to put them up in the hot power rankings until this week. I was like, this is the week. If the Niners win this game, then they are an elite team. They won, and they won by a significant margin, and now they've garnered that elite team status. I had the Bengals beating the Chiefs. The Chiefs beating the Bengals by 1. Although I almost picked the Bengals because Joe Burrow beat Mahomes twice in a row recently. I ended up picking the Chiefs for the same reason. And so that one had similar scores, but I had the wrong team. Seahawks over Rams. I had pretty similar scores, pretty similar game. Raiders-Chargers, I got almost on the dot. I got the Raiders score identical. Chargers score was off by 4. And then Cowboys-Colts. I predicted a blowout. It was just more of a blowout. Starting for this week's predictions, I have the Raiders over the Rams on Thursday Night Football, 32-26. The Raiders have started a little bit of a win streak. They're now 5-7. If they win another game, they'll be 6-7, and they'll be fighting for a potential AFC playoff spot. I don't see it happening, considering the Jets are still 7-5, 2 games ahead of them. But if the Jets lose this week and the Raiders win this week, then the Raiders will be 6-7. The Jets will be 7-6. So it will be tight. The Rams have looked better on offense ever since their backup quarterback has come in and Matthew Stafford has gone to the bench, but gotten injured. But I still think the Raiders are going to be able to pull the win, especially if Josh Jacobs has another 150-yard game, because the Raiders can only win football games when Josh Jacobs has 150 scrimmage yards. At 1 o'clock, we have Lions, Vikings, Eagles, Giants, Cowboys, Texans, Titans, Jaguars, Steelers, Ravens, Bills, Jets, and Bengals, Browns. I have the Lions beating the Vikings in an upset 38-34. The Vikings have squeaked by in a lot of games against teams that they should have beaten. A lot of games that they were supposed to win. I think that this is a trap game for them. I think that they're going to be coming off of this 2 wins against the Jets, the Patriots, and the Lions are going to be a trap game where they're really going to go off offensively. I think that the Vikings defense will be overwhelmed with how effective the Lions offense is when they have DeAndre Swift, when they have Williams, when they have Amon-Ra St. Brown, when they have all of their weapons. And I think that they're going to outscore them in an offensive shootout. I have the Steelers beating the Ravens 27-20. I believe Lamar Jackson will be out for next week, but obviously nobody knows at this point. If he's out, then I have the Steelers winning. If Lamar Jackson plays, I have the Ravens winning. But I'm assuming that Lamar will be out, so I have the Steelers winning 27-20. TJ Watt and Mike Tomlin keeping the Steelers' chances of finishing 9-8 or 8-1 alive. I have the Eagles beating the Giants 24-23. I think this will be a close game. I think the Giants will keep up for most of it, but ultimately I think that the Eagles will win, and I think that the Giants will fall to a tie in last place in the division with Washington. They'll both be 7-5-1 if the Giants do lose this game. If the Giants win this game, then that makes the NFC East a lot more interesting because the Giants, the Eagles, and the Cowboys are all within a game and a quarter. So it'll be a tight race if the Giants are to win this game, especially because how many divisional matchups the Eagles have left. I have the Titans beating the Jaguars 34-20. Derrick Henry usually has 200 yards against the Jaguars every year, so I expect him to have 200 yards this week in a bounce-back performance from his last few underperforming weeks. 3 weeks in a row, he's had a very low yard per carry average, and he hasn't scored a lot of points. Actually, he had a couple touchdowns, but his yards per carry average on the ground has been very low because of the offensive line. I think that he's going to go off against the Jaguars defense and have a good bounce-back game. I have the Bills beating the Jets 33-24. I really just, if the Jets beat the Bills twice, I'll just be disappointed in the Patriots for that performance last week. I honestly don't think that the Jets are going to be able to win. It is in New York, so they can, but I think that the Bills are going to, with the Dolphins loss last year, the Bills will have a reinvigorated spirit to win out to secure the one spot and to secure the top seed in the division. I have the Cowboys beating the Texans 50-3, and I have the Bengals beating the Browns 30-17. I think that the Bengals are the better team in that matchup overall, even with Deshaun Watson coming back. The Bengals are a top 3 team in the league. The Browns are in the bottom half. I expected more from Deshaun Watson coming back, and he disappointed in his first game back. The defense and special teams really needed to win the game, so we'll see how he does in his second game back. But I think the Bengals should be able to dominate in that game. 4 o'clock, Chiefs, Broncos, Buccaneers, Niners, and Seahawks, Panthers. I have the Chiefs beating the Broncos 23-12. I have the Buccaneers beating the Niners 27-24, and I have the Seahawks beating the Panthers 30-23. I think that the Chiefs-Broncos game is. I think that it's just gonna. I just think it's gonna be one of the most boring games ever. I think Patrick Mahomes is just gonna play normal football, and the Broncos are just gonna not play normal football. I don't think there'll be any lead changes. I think that the Chiefs will just score some points, and then the Broncos just won't be able to. Buccaneers-Niners. I have the Buccaneers winning in that matchup. I think Tom Brady will take advantage of their backup quarterback as renewed spirit to try and win the game. And I think that he'll have that as a motivational factor, like, hey, I can't lose to this young, I don't know if he's a rookie or second year, but I can't lose to this young guy who has no experience. I think Brady's going to want to try and take control of the game, especially after the couple losses recently that they really were expected to win. And obviously to get back to 500 and be trying to solidify that top seed in the division is important. And then I have the Seahawks beating the Panthers 30-23. Carolina's put up a fight in a lot of games recently. I think they're going to continue to do that. Sunday night, I have the Dolphins beating the Chargers 43-30. I think the Dolphins are going to want to have a bounce-back week after the Niners lost, and I think the Chargers are just demoralized at this point. I think that the loss to the Raiders is going to be a turning point in their season. I think that at this point forward, they're going to have a tough time winning games against tough teams. I think that Miami's offense matches well against the Chargers defense. The Chargers defense really hasn't been anything to brag about this season. I think that the Dolphins are going to be able to take advantage of a lot of their defensive inadequacies. Last but certainly not least, we have the Monday Night Football game, Patriots versus Cardinals. I think that this will be a really good football game. The Patriots, the last few weeks, have had a few different good football games. The Bills game really wasn't great, but I think that this one will be a solid game. The Cardinals' defense all season has been bad. Pretty horrendously bad. I think that at this point in the season, the Patriots are 6-6, and Bill Belichick needs to realize we're not making the playoffs. I think that he needs to have the mindset that we can't make the playoffs. Once he has the mindset that we cannot make the playoffs, then we can turn around and say, okay, let Mac throw the ball down the field on every drive, because that's when he plays his best, is when he's throwing the ball downfield. And I think that we're going to do that in this game. I think that I have faith in our offensive play calling to finally change something about what we do. 14 weeks into the season, I think that we'll finally figure out that we need to throw the football. And I think that we will put up offensive numbers. And I think that although Kyler Murray is a running quarterback and the Patriots defense struggles against rushing quarterbacks, I think that the Patriots will be able to have a strong enough offensive performance from the offensive coaching and Mac Jones' performance in order to score more points than the Cardinals. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Huge shout out to Quinn Lacey for supporting the channel with a channel membership.